The Bruton Vault. Sir Francis Bacon, 1561–1626, an English lord, the son of Elizabeth I, was recognized as the founder of Freemasonry, the guiding light of the Rosicrucian order, the members of which kept the torch of the true universal knowledge, the secret doctrine of the ages, alive during the dark night of the Middle Ages. Fluent in many languages, it has been believed by some that he was one of the editors of the King James Version of the Bible, as well as the true author of the plays attributed to William Shakespeare. He had been initiated by a secret society of intellectuals dedicated to civil and religious freedom. In his book Instauratio Magna, he wrote of a movement to reorganize the sciences and restore man to the mastery over nature that he was conceived to have lost by the fall of Adam. Bacon's novel, New Atlantis, published in 1627, a year after his death, by his secretary William Raleigh, represented his vision for a new golden age. It was about a crew of shipwrecked sailors who arrived on the shores of mysterious, unknown land, whose people had a much higher developed culture and possessed a technology unlike anything they had ever seen. He talked about buildings a half a mile high, flying machines, underwater vehicles, and a government of philosopher-scientists working in behalf of an enlightened group of people who were committed to learning, and a higher level of achievement. Manly Palmer Hall, 1901–1990, founder of the Philosophical Research Society in 1934, and one of the foremost experts in the realm of the metaphysical and the occult, authored over 200 books, and in 6 decades delivered more than 8,000 lectures. In his 1944 book The Secret Destiny of America, he revealed that even though the New Atlantis had been completed, the entire version was never published. He wrote, "The final, unpublished, chapters revealed the entire pattern secret societies had been working on for thousands of years to achieve the ideal commonwealth in the political world." It included details for nurturing the new order of the ages, how this long-range great plan would restore mankind to the original state that was intended to reflect the inner philosophical tradition of Freemasonry, and proposed timetables. In The Secret Destiny of America, Hall also wrote, "There exists in the world today, and has existed for thousands of years, a body of enlightened humans united in what might be termed an order of the quest. It is composed of those whose intellectual and spiritual perceptions have revealed to them that civilization has a secret destiny. The outcome of this secret destiny is a world order ruled by a king with supernatural powers. This king was descended of a divine race, that is, he belonged to the order of the illumined, for those who come to a state of wisdom then belong to a family of heroes, perfected human beings." The full-length version, which included the missing chapters, was taken to Jamestown in 1635 by his descendant Nathaniel Bacon, where it was buried under the altar of the old brick church. In 1676, it was moved to Williamsburg, Virginia, where it was buried in a great vault beneath the tower center of the first brick church in Bruton Parish. The current church, known as the Bruton Parish Church, which was declared a National Historic Landmark, was built in 1715, and within the grounds of its graveyard, the site of the original church, and is where the Bruton Vault is located. It is believed by many serious researchers that Sir Francis Bacon faked his death, actually dying in 1684, and constructed the vault with the help of his Wild Goose Club. It is a 10 feet by 10 feet brick vault, possibly part of an underground Freemasonry lodge that is buried 20 feet deep, and marked by certain strategically placed and coded memorials in the cemetery above. The reason for the Rockefellers making such an investment to restore the town of colonial Williamsburg was the prospect of locating the fabled vault, which had 3 tunnels leading to it from homes in the area. Fortunately, ownership of the grounds remain in the hands of the Page and Bray families. Deposited along with the unabridged copy of the New Atlantis were other secret documents, including ancient writings that had been in the possession of certain secret societies. One such artifact was the Book of Thoth, which had been retrieved from a golden box out of an inner sanctuary in an ancient Egyptian temple. Known as the Sacred Torch, the most important document ever given to man, it is believed that anyone who is able to decipher it will have their consciousness enhanced to the point that they will be able to see the invisible immortals and enter the presence of the superior gods. Manly Hall wrote in his book, The Secret Teachings of All Ages, that the book was lost to the ancient world with the decay of the mysteries, but its faithful initiates carried it sealed to another land. The book is still in existence. The vault also contains instructions, maps, and documents that lead to 144 sacred burial sites of certain forefathers, patriots and early leaders in our country that in turn contain original writings, diaries and documentation that will prove how history has been rewritten today to reflect the biased political views of certain leaders in this country. Hall wrote in The Secret Destiny of America, not only were the founders of the United States government Masons, but they received aid from a secret and august body existing in Europe, which helped them to establish this country for a peculiar and particular purpose known only to the initiated few. Masonry was not always as it appears today. Many early Christian patriots during the foundational period of American history were part of the predominant York Rite, which promoted values, ethics, and brotherhood among its members. It has been reported that true Freemasonry lodges were established in the cellars of Episcopalian and Presbyterian churches. It was the Illuminati infiltration of the American fraternal lodges by the Jesuit-spawned Scottish Rite that moved through the ranks like a virus to take them over from within. It is believed that the vault also contains a quantity of gold, an original edition of the supposed Bacon-edited King James Bible, inventions that were ahead of its time, and a device that will enable their codes to be deciphered. There is some evidence to indicate that handwritten copies of certain documents were made during the administration of President Washington and hidden at a remote location in Virginia. According to Colin Dyer in his book Symbolism in Craft Masonry, in 1804, Thomas Jefferson, third president, was the last person to examine the contents of this vault. It was believed that the contents were removed and placed in a secret location either at the University of Virginia, founded by Jefferson, or the Capitol building in Washington, D.C. However, Manly Hall became a leading proponent for the Bruton Vault as being the location of this sacred repository. His quest to protect it from falling into the wrong hands cost him his life, because he was strangled to death by two members of the Skull and Bones Society, Morgan Brandt and Daniel Fritz. Luckily, all of his research notes, documents, maps, books, photos, and artifacts relating to 50 years of work on the vault had already been sent to a secret location in Russia. In The Secret Destiny of America, Hall wrote, "America's true destiny will remain a secret as long as great masses of people have no knowledge whatsoever that enlightened humanitarians through thousands of years have in their own and succeeding generations remained united on the high purpose of eventually instituting democratic rule throughout the world. It is necessary to know, too, that it was anciently planned that leadership would fall to America, to a nation established on the northern continent of the Western Hemisphere. Long before Columbus, they were aware of the existence of the Western Hemisphere, and selected it to be the site of the philosophic empire. The American continent was set apart for establishing here a great democratic nation, centuries before the founding fathers and colonists envisioned the Union. And quote. When President Theodore Roosevelt visited the site, and learned of its significance, he vowed to protect it, and out of appreciation, he was honored by having his image placed on Mount Rushmore. David Rockefeller and Queen Elizabeth have shown a particular interest in the vault's contents. The contents of the Bruton Vault are priceless, and considered so important that it is referred to as the Seventh Seal. A group known as Sir Francis Bacon's Sages of the Seventh Seal have been the driving force behind the movement to uncover the vault. Though there were unsuccessful attempts in 1938, which did discover the original church foundations, and 1992, they now believe that a spiral staircase exists beneath the pyramid-shaped monument that marks the centuries-old graves of David and Elizabeth Bray, and leads to the vault, which they refer to as a Freemasonry library. And quote. Armed with new evidence from their continued research, the group has lobbied the Reverend Herman Hollerith IV, rector of the Episcopal Church, to authorize a new, controlled, archaeological dig, to raise the vault, so that its contents can be studied, and protected from forces hostile to the information it contains.